And we're live. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Alice and the Giant Bookshelf, and welcome back to the Women's Prize Plodalong. We've got our usual suspects, Charlie over there. I can never point in the right direction on here.
By the end of this live stream, we'll have that nailed, which direction.
I will never nail that because I'm not good at left and right anyway. We've got Jem down there, and we've got our lovely guest today, which is Charlotte from Charlotte Molloy. And all the way from Bali today. So very, very exciting. Welcome, Charlotte.
Thank you.
I do have a banner if it's working on this Sunday morning.
It is.
I feel like I'm always worse at technology on Sunday mornings. So I'm not awake, and the technology is awake as a consequence.
Sunday mornings are their own,
Charlotte. If you haven't checked out Charlotte's channel yet, it will be linked it is linked in the description box down below. And we've all been really enjoying Charlotte's prize content this year. I know I have, especially your reaction video, Charlotte. That was pretty epic.
Yeah.
Both reaction videos, actually.
Yeah. I think my favourite videos are the ones where you read like the first chapter of every book and then like give us a little snippet of does this look like it's going to be a good one or not. I quite like those videos.
Yeah, well, I only got into kind of sampling books, so it was really helpful for getting through, especially the women's, which is kind of 16 books. It was really helpful to kind of sample them all, and then it is hit and miss, but I'd say for the majority of the time I can kind of get a good sense of maybe character or writing, because sometimes it's like, no, this writing is absolutely not working, or this is like, so I feel like it works the majority of the time. There's been some instances where I've carried on reading and actually I've kind of warmed up to it, so the 10% mark doesn't really work, but maybe like 75% of the time it does work. So I enjoyed filming them and getting a sense of all of them as quickly as possible and then going from there.
I think that's a really good idea. I think I might do that with the booker this year, like not filming it, but just like reading.
Especially with booker where it's quite experimental, so kind of be able to tell, right, this is a bit too weird or that sort of thing, if they, depending on which way they go this year. So I must admit, I have already got an eye on what they could be picking, just going through the Goodreads eligibility website kind of thing page, and it's looking very exciting.
I think I've got a long list of 36 books for my predictions at the moment.
I can't wait to hear that, Jem.
Yeah, it's long.
I'm resisting the booker at the moment. I'm like, I don't enjoy the books from the booker because they make me feel stupid. So I'm not engaging with it this year, but I say that. And as soon as these two start up with it and give me FOMO, I will probably be like, oh, the booker, yay!
But it's later this year. It's the 1st of August. So I know we're talking about women's prizes, but the first of August. It's the latest it's ever been, I think.
I didn't know that.
Kind of lunchtime.
Wow. Last year it was just after Charlie's birthday is about the 17th of my friend, and it was not long after that, of July, and so this year it's like it's crazy.
I think we've got some people in, some of our plodders. We've got morning all. Charlotte, where in Bali are you?
Ubud, so it's in literally if you'd put a pin in the middle of the island, you'd be near enough in Ubud. So,
I don't know geography, so I'd be like, okay. Hello, Charlie. But hi, Laura. Anyway, and hello, Kate. Kate's one of our regular plod along.
We love Kate. We love all of them.
And Ange. Morning, Ange.
Morning, Ange.
And we've got our first ever guest, the lovely Sarah. Hi, everyone. Hi, Sarah. And Imogen. Morning, Imogen.
Good morning.
So I expect we will have the sort of US contingent watching this later because it's not really a USA time, but it gives a chance for everyone in your sort of hemisphere, Charlotte, to join in for a change. Because we've only really had Scott, haven't we, from that half of the world?
Yes, he should be up. Where is he?
Yeah, come on, Scott.
I think between me, I've got about 6 hours, I think, off the top of my head.
Is it really that much? I
I
didn't know that.
Actually, no, I think I've got that wrong. It's a 6-hour flight, but it's not that different. Yeah, no, I've got that.
So, yeah. So, Charlotte, I can't actually remember the answer to this question, but what have you read so far for the Women's Prize? Although we know you've obviously sampled all at the beginning.
I've written it down. So I have read Trespasses, Cursed Bread, Children of Paradise, and Wandering Souls to the 50% mark. I've completed Demon, and I'm all the others didn't make it past the 10% mark for me in the video. So that includes, you know, everyone's favourite pod and things like Bandit Queens, and there was something as well. I think Bandit Queens was one of those ones where I could have continued with it. I liked the sort of choral nature of the women's voices at the start. I thought that was really nice. But then I'm not quite sure. I just wasn't enthused to kind of pick it up again. But that's one where I could kind of go back. I think the issue with Bandit Queens was it wasn't available to me anywhere except on audio. And I tend to struggle with audio just as a general form. So I think that was the biggest reason as to why I didn't continue with Bandit Queens. Otherwise, I would have. But yes,
I think it'd be really interesting to do the 10% thing, because I think it takes me sometimes quite a fair bit of time to get into a book, and definitely I don't think I would have continued Bandit Queens if I'd only read 10%, because it did take me a little while to get into, and then I really did like it. I mean, Trespasses I definitely would have abandoned after 10%, because that was such a slow.
But I don't mind, but I agree. I did kind of just give up with it in the end.
I sort of wish I had given up, because it was the sort of book where I was like, well, something's going to happen, hopefully, eventually. And then even when it did happen, I was a little bit disappointed by it. So
yeah,
it's my favourite. I love that book.
Yeah.
I love it so much. I just love it so much.
Do you think that's because you liked Kushla? Because I think if I'd have liked Kushla, it might have been a better book, but I just didn't really care. I thought she was all right. Like I quite liked the alcoholic mother character. She was probably my favourite.
Yeah,
but I didn't really care about any of the characters, to be honest.
I like the little boy. I can't remember his name now.
Davy.
Yeah,
that's Davy.
I just didn't find that very believable as someone who has been a teacher, and I get that it's a different time and a different place. I was like, you aren't even allowed to get involved like that. And she was told not to get involved. So I'm a bit like, I just didn't believe any of the teaching part of it at all.
But if it was set in the time of the Troubles, then that's a longer time ago anyway. It's not like it's a modern relationship.
Yeah. And I agree that it's probably completely different in Ireland in the Troubles and so on. But I just didn't find the teaching side of it at all believable, unfortunately.
I think for me it was the fact that I don't think her personality, like with her mother versus her personality at the school, they weren't the same. Do you know what I mean? I felt like at home she was a bit of an asshole, and then at the school she was trying to be this like Miss Honey figure, and then I was like, it just like her personality didn't like mesh together for me really.
Yeah. And I think it is, as well as I think that you could say, well, the writing was actually quite good and quite enjoyable to read. I think it was the personality of the protagonists, and you don't necessarily have to like them, but I think there has to be some sort of kind of redeeming quality or wanting to root for them. And I just was like really siding with her in this kind of situation.
I think I would have preferred a character that I really actively didn't like, because I just didn't really feel anything for her at all.
It is horrible when that happens, to be fair, if you feel like that about a character. I struggled to read a book like that. I think that's why I struggled with the boring bread thing.
So we've got a couple more comments. Zach says happy Mother's Day. Maybe that's a US thing. That is. We've had Mother's Day a couple of months ago, but happy Mother's Day to those in the US. Zach there's some impressive commitment to showing up, Zach. It's 3 a.m. in the US. Thanks for coming, Zach. And Laura says, my cousin is in Badung, Jimbaran. I visited in 2019 and loved it. Can't read numbers this morning for some reason.
Oh.
That is, I think I've like passed through, but I haven't. Say it, Jimbaran.
So yeah, so shall we ask Charlotte some of our regular questions? I think so. Our first question for everybody is always, what was the last 5-star book you read by a woman? Or if you don't do 5 stars, what did you really enjoy by a woman recently?
This one is definitely Wayward by Amelia Hart. It's her debut novel. She's Australian, and yeah, that one definitely. I wrapped it up in my last month's wrap up. But has anyone read Evie Wyld's The Bass Rock?
No.
Yes, I have.
So yeah, so kind of when you have 3 different women on 3 different timelines, but they're kind of linked together by a place. That's exactly what's happening in this scenario. Except to say it's probably stronger, more cohesive. All of the timelines seem to have strength to them, whereas I think a lot of people found that the kind of oldest timeline in the Bass Rock was maybe slightly weaker when she was sort of like running through a forest away from 2 men. But in this case, all 3 seem to be really nicely balanced. So I gave that kind of like 5 stars. Just, yeah, I thought it was absolutely incredible. I couldn't believe it. And it was just it was sheer win that I picked it up like a 99p ebook. Yeah. It was a really nice surprise.
I remember because one of the sorry.
No, you go.
No, I was just going to say because I didn't enjoy Evie Wyld Bass Rock one as much, and then you said that when you said you didn't enjoy it as much, but you loved Wayward. I was like, well, actually, so maybe I'll get the book I wanted from the Bass Rock in Wayward. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I did enjoy the Bass Rock. I think I gave it something like 3 stars, which is still solid for me, and I enjoyed it and read the whole thing. But as soon as I picked up Wayward and saw that it was 3 women across 3 different timelines, I just kind of made the association quite quickly between that and the Bass Rock, and then that kind of has just stuck now. So yeah, it's really great. I liked it.
Have you got that one on your Kindle, Jem?
I think so, yeah.
I think it's because I told you that it was on offer. I think it was when I told you it was on offer. I think
it's definitely on my radar. What I want to get to. I've seen it on a few people's TBRs and stuff recently.
Yeah, so. Me too. And on the Libby app, it has like a wait until about November, so it's really
really
popular. Yeah,
very popular. So we've got Danny in. Danny's saying hi. If that's coming up, yeah. Morning, Danny. And Danny says Wayward is high on her TBR list.
Yeah.
It's one that I've sort of seen, like it's got a really, really lovely cover, hasn't it? But that's about how much I've judged it so far. So good to hear that you really, really loved it. Yeah, and of course, the very, very important question that everybody's waiting for is what's your favourite pizza topping, Charlotte?
So whenever I order a pizza, it's generally just a margarita. So which I kind of, when I try a new pizza place, it's sort of like the benchmark for how good the actual pizza place is. If they can do a really good margarita pizza, I reckon like you're on to a winner. But then kind of I really like aubergine and goat's cheese and olives, so I might add those on if I'm kind of making one at home. But if I'm going out, it's normally margarita.
I like all that topping. That's all lovely veggie topping. That sounds good to me. On the
veggie side of things. So yeah. It'd be unusual for me to add meat to stuff.
I'm not insulted by that as a topping, but it's just not very inspired.
I was going to say that topping does sound very much like a Charlie favourite. You like goat cheese.
Goat
cheese and veggies. Yeah. That's always like my favourite pizza topping.
Yeah.
And Danny agrees that Wayward is gorgeous. She got the Waterstone special edition. Lovely. So let us know in the comments what you're reading today. And anything you want to tell us about your Sunday morning, if it's Sunday morning or Sunday. If it's not
a bit early for everybody.
Yeah.
Have you woken up yet?
Yeah, I am not awake yet. So, yes. What did you want to say, Charlie? Sorry.
I was just going to say, we were saying before we came on, like, I feel like Sunday mornings are like a little bit of I'm normally a morning person. I know Alice isn't normally a morning person, but I am a morning person. But Sunday mornings, for some reason, I just don't wake up till like lunchtime. Like, I don't, I am awake, but I'm like not awake.
Yeah.
I think Sunday is a bit of a different entity to the rest of the week, isn't it? It's like a day where you feel like you don't have to get up usually.
In theory.
Not for you, Jem, because you've got a child alarm clock.
Yes, I do have a child alarm clock.
So you've already done a whole day already before we've started.
It does feel a bit like that. It's like,
Jem was texting us like all the things she's done already this morning, and I was like, what?
Like a long.
I'm literally sitting in bed with a coffee.
I've sat down on the sofa and I've watched Bedknobs and Broomsticks, so I started it, and that's literally.
I love that film.
I haven't even had time for that. I was literally stuffing down toast about 5 minutes before we came on the thing. So Imogen is still slowly getting through Fire Rush and Glory. Very good.
Nice.
I haven't really read anything Women's Prize in the last, I don't know, quite a while, I suppose. I've still got Homesick and Memphis sitting here on my table, but they're untouched. And I have had finally the message that Black Butterflies has arrived at the library. Yay! It made it before the deadline.
Also, on Black Butterflies, the audiobook has now been released. It was released on the 11th.
Oh, cool.
So I think I might audiobook it.
I might try that in the future because I really enjoyed Black Butterflies. I'd reread it like that.
Yeah. I did finish Wandering Souls on Friday.
What did you think?
I thought it was so good. I really loved it. I cried several times. I think like the death of a child is always going to make me cry. So that's not a spoiler. That happens like right in like the first chapter. But I just thought I wasn't expecting it to be so expansive, like from the main character's like childhood right through to when she's like an old woman. And I didn't expect it to cover that much time and that much like political unrest. So yeah, I'm on Team Charlie with this one. It was a big fat 5 stars for me.
I'll just carry on being the heartless person over here who didn't cry at it.
Not heartless. I wonder though, because I audiobook like the whole thing in a day, whether that like added to like the emotional like state.
I did something similar, Jem. Actually, I think I read it in like I started it in the evening and then one evening, and I finished it the next day. So yeah, I was the same.
I audiobooked it, and it definitely didn't take me long, but I definitely would have listened to it in several sessions. So.
Yeah,
not all at once, but I think I was so disappointed because it didn't make me cry, and I needed it to make me cry to get that 5 stars, and it didn't do it. I had like probably welled up, but I mainly welled up at the stuff that was like real life, actual news stories because they are just
my goodness, horrendous. Yeah,
the bandit.
A bit about the island in Thailand.
But the bit for me that actually got to me was the lorry bit, because I could remember that news story in recent history, and I was like, that was hard, but hard to listen to when it's something that you can remember in your lifetime.
Yeah.
But it just didn't make me cry.
Probably the shortlist either. That I think out of all of the ones that didn't make it, I think that Wandering Souls was the one that just how did that not get onto the shortlist sort of thing? You know, on all counts, storytelling, kind of emotive, like it had everything going for it, I feel, and you know, contemporary view, but yeah, that was the one surprise, I think. Surprised that it wasn't shortlisted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I was surprised about that, and I was surprised about I'm a fan as well, because I just think both of them have such contemporary issues, and I would have expected to see them maybe over Pod, although that is like obviously a really relevant issue. But yeah, I think we were all very surprised when they left that till last, and we're like, and Pod.
But with the Pulitzer news that Demon Copperhead has won that, are they going to now suddenly be right? Pod is now winning the Women's Prize, ladies and gentlemen, because we can't give it to Demon Copperhead as well, sort of thing.
Oh, they better give it to Demon Copperhead, because that's the best book on the list.
I can so see our reaction video, because it's going to be our reaction video is going to be Pod, isn't it? And we're just going to be like.
I have a really nasty feeling that they're going to kind of be scrambling now around the judging panel, going, right, what else are we going to nominate? Because we can't now choose Demon Copperhead. What is our thing? And I think maybe if it made the shortlist, it could definitely win this. But yeah, it's going to be fun to see either way, to see what they come up with.
Maybe if it's Pod, I'm out on the Women's Prize.
Yeah.
I think it deserves to win both. I think in fact, I think it deserves to win the Booker as well.
Oh, God. I don't think that's ever happened. I don't think there's ever been a book that's won like 3 or more prizes in a year.
No.
Yeah, potentially 4 if it gets the National Book Award. So I'm really doubtful.
It can't. I don't think it's eligible from the National Book Award, because I watched Ben Reads Good, Ben's video, and he said it's not. He found out it's not eligible. So.
Oh, did he?
So potentially it's only got 3 wins only.
Only.
But my thoughts on it is that if it's the best book of that year,
it should win.
It shouldn't matter whether it's had another prize. It should just get it.
I agree.
I also doubt, is it the best book? Is it the best book of the year?
Yes, it is, Charlotte.
Yes, but is it kind of like, you know, the kind of god level tier of winning 3 book prizes in a year? I mean, that's insane. That's insanely good, you know. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, I haven't read all of the book prize books yet, but it's definitely the best one on this list.
Oh, for sure. The hands down, no disagreement.
It's
like up there somewhere, whereas the rest.
It'll be interesting to see what they throw in the mix for the Booker to contend with it. Like I can't
It might not even get on the Booker list.
It will.
But whether it gets any further, I expect it on the long list.
I think it'll only long list. I don't think they'll shortlist it, because the Booker doesn't like good books. So.
No, it only likes books that make you feel very stupid.
Wandering Souls is eligible for the Booker, so that could have a little reprieve.
I would be delighted to see it on the Booker list.
Yeah, that would be great. And it has interesting writing, which maybe there kind of would be a tick. But
yeah.
I'm trying to see. I did write the other ones that are eligible. So the ones that are eligible for the Booker this year are Demon Copperhead, Fire Rush, Cursed Bread, which could appear because obviously we know Sophie McIntosh appeared with the Water Cure, Bandit Queens, and the Dog of the North. Imagine if the Dog of the North, like what the heck?
That is not a Booker Prize book, is it?
I don't even think that's a Women's Prize book, to be fair. I don't know why it's on there.
Jem, you're not going to read that, are you? You're not actually going to read it.
I am going to read it. Well, I'm going to start it because it's on script. So I'll try it. Okay. I will try it, but it is like at the bottom of the pile.
So Sarah is starting Bridge of Clay by Marcus Zuzak today. I've never read that, but I have read obviously The Book Thief, and I read another Marcus Zuzak one I really, really liked. I think it was called I Am the Messenger, but I've never read Bridge of Clay.
Bridge of Clay, I read my TBR recently, actually, so that's interesting. Having a bit of a.
And Zach has added Wayward to his TBR. Favourite Australian books: A Picnic at Hanging Rock, and Tender Morsels by Margot Lanagan. I literally can't read this morning. I've not heard of that second one, no. Sarah says, I can read it. Maybe it's coming up. My kids are old enough to go downstairs by themselves. Yay! My daughter also bought us both a cuppa in bed at 8ish. You'll get there, Jem.
Well trained, well trained. I don't think my kids would ever bring me anything in bed except for whining. So
yeah, but then it switches, and then what happens is that you're the one that's awake before they are, because I've got 2 teenagers now. Obviously, we're downstairs way before they are. They're not ever awake till like near lunchtime.
Sam's still in bed. Sam's still in bed. But, Charlie had a full-on meltdown just before we came on live because I said he could only have 2 biscuits and not 4 biscuits. And when I say meltdown, I mean full-on, like toddler temper tantrum on the floor, kicking his legs. I was like, honestly, this kid is faulty. Return to sender, please.
No 4 biscuits. Come on.
I know. I'm the evilest mother in the world for reducing.
But it's basically 2 biscuits that you're arguing over. Like 2.
And do you know what the worst thing is? Now I'm here, so Daddy's probably given him 4 biscuits.
Oh dear. And Zach says he will be finishing The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. I've not heard of that one either.
Oh, I want to read that. Actually, I think that's on my Kindle.
On your Kindle, of course.
I want to watch a 2-hour. I want to watch a 2-hour video where Jem tells us what's on her Kindle. Is it 2 hours?
There's like 800 books on there, man.
I think it'd be longer than 2 hours.
There's a
I'd
lot.
watch it. Sorry, Charlotte.
You think 800 books on your Kindle currently?
Unread.
Oh,
Unread.
It'd probably be easier for you to tell us which books are not on your Kindle.
Yeah,
It actually would.
Oh dear. So yes, shall we do the challenge? Is it challenge time? We have the leaderboard. Ready?
It's the leaderboard. Oh yes, we want to see the leaderboard. Show us the leaderboard. Our special board.
So you've just got a mere 30 to beat, Charlotte. So as long as you can do more than 1 book a second, you'll be in the lead.
Easy.
I've got it.
No problem at all. So, Charlotte, I think you know what is coming, but just in case anybody has not seen it before, we're going to ask Charlotte how many Women's Prize listed books can be long-listed or shortlisted or win from the whole history of the prize. You can name in 30 seconds. You don't have to give us any authors' names, just the name of a book. Jem's going to write them down today.
Yeah.
And Charlie is going to give us the 30-second timer. So do you feel ready to do that, Charlotte?
Sure, as ready as I'll ever be.
Excellent.
You got this. Everybody cheered Charlotte along in the comments.
Yeah, everyone cheer for Charlotte for us. And Charlie, shall we start in 5 seconds? So counting you down, Charlotte. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Glory, Cursed Red, I'm a Fan, Demon Copperhead, The Marriage Portrait, Bandit Queens, Pod, Luster, Goldfinch, The Water Cure. Oh gosh, none of them are coming to my head now. Wandering Souls. Exciting Times, Consent, Detransition Baby. Trees.
Very good.
What was the last one you said?
Island of Missing Trees.
Ah.
That was a long one. I should have gone for
I don't think the Water Cure was listed, but I could be wrong. I know it was Booker listed, but I don't think it was
Booker listed.
Yeah, I don't think it was Women's Prize listed. I'll double check.
We can check the spreadsheet.
Oh yeah, where's the spread? I can't find that.
You giving up on life, Charlie?
Always.
Over there. Sunday morning.
Actually, our spreadsheet's on our chat thing, so I could look on the chat thing, to be fair.
I think Jem might be looking.
There you
She's
go,
looking
Gem's
very
ready.
studious.
Yes, she's always good. You guys are
There
quicker.
Gemma's looking studious. Jennifer is here. Hi, Jennifer.
Hey.
Sorry I'm late. Bit tired after watching Eurovision last night. Yeah, I haven't mentioned Eurovision. I didn't watch it, but I'm sure it was a lot of fun, as always. Anyone watch Eurovision? Charlie?
No, I didn't.
No.
I do sometimes on occasional years, but my children informed me reliably that our song, the UK song, was rubbish. Sorry to say if it's not. I'm sorry. But they were like this year's song is the UK song is rubbish. So.
Ange says Gemma's unread always makes me feel better about my 190. It makes us all feel better.
I felt bad when I had like 40.
Kate is reading Bandit Queens. Would have liked Wandering Souls to be longer. I agree. I would have liked Wandering Souls to be longer, and I never say that about a book. And it should have made the shortlist of a pod.
I wouldn't mind if it was longer. I did like her writing.
Yeah, I feel like if it was longer, we could have maybe got to know the characters a little bit more. But I think maybe the not getting to know the characters was on purpose. Whoa, Zach has 531 books in my Audible library, 261 finished, and I currently have 26 credits just renewed on Thursday. So you can get a lot more books.
A lot.
And Jennifer says, UK finished second bottom, so Charlie's kids were correct.
To be fair, sometimes even if it's a good song, we'll still finish bottom, so it doesn't always
nil bar. Also watching this live as a lovely post-Eurovision recovery Sunday. Cool. I think Jennifer had been to a few Eurovision things because Jennifer's in Liverpool, where it was being hosted. So that must have been really, really fun.
That's so exciting. That is like if we were all living in Liverpool, we would definitely be excited for it, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Like that is so cool.
I'm sure I would have got the FOMO and ended up getting excited.
True.
The kind of the really good singer last year would have been great to kind of be.
Yeah.
I think we won, didn't we? Came second last year.
Yeah,
combine
we did.
that hosting it, that would have been great. But
yeah, you can never have a good one 2 years running. Ange watched half of it, got to Australia, then fell asleep, but woke up for favourite part, the scores. Love Eurovision. Liverpool did a great job hosting. Excellent. I just don't understand why Australia are in a Eurovision Song Contest. I don't get it. Can anyone tell me why? Why are Australia in a European Song Contest?
I didn't even know they were.
Yeah, it's so bizarre.
Yeah, that is a bit odd.
Does anybody enter?
No, I don't think so. I think there's a couple of countries from outside Europe, but I don't know why. If anyone can explain it to me.
Is it because they're in the Commonwealth?
No, I think maybe they were invited. I did look it up last night. I think maybe they were invited to join like a special one a few years ago, like 60 years of the Eurovision Song Contest or something. And then they did so well that they never went away again. Something like that. I don't know. Jem, do we have any verdict on the water cure?
Yeah, no, it was Booker. It was Booker. So I'm going to check it when we go into a plod, but I think it's 14.
Very good score.
Good.
Well done, Charlotte.
That's the same as Lauren and the books.
Wow. Oh, well done.
And better than Scott.
Yeah, you beat Scott. Where are we up to? Aha, Jennifer has the scoop on Australia, I think. If it's coming.
Yeah.
I think Australia were invited as a special one-off a few minutes back and stayed. Yeah, that was what the internet seemed to say, but I wasn't sure. It's more to do with TV broadcasting rights, not just being in Europe. And Australia are just huge Eurovision fans. Fair enough. If they're doing a good job, don't mind them joining, I suppose. They were invited 1 year as a guest and asked to join. Broadcasters pay to take part, right? Okay.
Oh, I see.
Fair enough.
It's always about money, isn't it?
It is.
Everything.
Yeah.
Always comes down to money. I think maybe Israel were in it as well.
Yes, I want Israel too. I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
think
And there is another country that's outside of Europe, but I can't remember off the top of my head which country it was. I just had a little Google session last night, obviously fell down a rabbit hole. I didn't even watch Eurovision. I don't know why I was. I think somebody on Instagram said one of their favourites was Australia, and I was like, what? How are Australia in it? And started Googling.
I watched Katrina. I was watching I watched a couple of Eurovision songs before I went to bed. I watched Gina G and I watched Love Shine a Light by Katrina Rente randomly because I was just like, I don't know why. I think it's because someone mentioned about Sonia did Sonia sing a song last night on the Eurovision?
I don't know.
Was she a Eurovision contestant? I don't know.
The Katrina and the Waves is the last time we actually won it, isn't it?
1996 was it? Or 97?
Like when I was very young. We always get in the final as we're one of the top 5 financial contributors. That's a good way to get in the final. And then we always get voted last because everyone doesn't like us very much. So Turkey, Georgia, Armenia and Azerbaijan all take part 2 from outside Europe. Thank you, Imogen. Oh, and Israel. Yeah. Okay, shall we have a bit of reading, do you think? Shall we go to Applaud?
Yeah.
What is everybody reading today? Charlie, what are you planning to read this morning?
I am reading an Irish novel, Close to Home by Michael McGee. And this is, I think it's a debut novelist. And it's set in Belfast and it's following a young lad who has just finished university. At the beginning of the book, he gets into a fight. And that's it all sort of goes from there. So, yeah.
Did you
Is
say
he related to Audrey McGee?
I don't know. Maybe I should. That's what I should be finding out.
That is.
Yeah.
Did you say that the bookseller recommended it to you because you love Trespassers?
Yeah, so she was trying to recommend me loads of books, and it was really funny because I'd read loads of. I think I'd read most of the ones that she'd said about. I felt a bit sorry for her, and then she said about Demon Copperhead, which obviously I loved, and then obviously that led to the conversation about Trespassers. Therefore,
excellent. And is it good so far? Enjoying it?
I've only read 2 chapters, but yeah, I love the writing style. So people have compared it to Shuggy, but I feel like that's a little bit of a leap, being honest.
Okay.
I don't think it's quite as funny as a Shuggy so far.
And Jem, what have you got on the go?
Still reading Memphis. I haven't read any more since we plodded last time. So yeah.
A bit more Memphis
a busy
today.
Memphis.
And Charlotte, what have you got today for reading?
I'm reading The Postcard by Anne Berest. From it's a Europa Editions. I got it off of NetGalley. I don't know too much about it other than I heard kind of sweeping family saga through Europe during the 20th century. I didn't really need to hear any more.
I didn't need to hear any more than that. It's now gone onto my TBR.
Yeah.
So you've literally just said loads of mine and Jem's buzzwords. Family saga.
Yeah, and mine too. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll try that. And then I think it has some cards and World War II outfits as a family kind of going through. So that's pretty much all I know. But then they also said, they blurbed inside that when manuscripts like this come into a publishing house, it's kind of like a once in a blue moon type thing, and everyone in the publishing house wants to read it. So I'm thinking, oh, this sounds quite exciting. I can't wait to start this. So I've literally just going to start it now.
Nice.
Jem, you're not allowed to spend the plod buying that book or pre-ordering it.
I'm writing it down.
That sounded like a you book.
Very me book.
Very much so. I have got not a women's prize book. I'm ignoring all my women's prize books. I'm going to read a bit more of The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet because I love it. I'm about halfway now.
How far are you into it?
About halfway. Halfway-ish. Yeah, I love it. Great characters.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I should read that one or not. But
you should.
Yeah, okay. So you all read it and you all absolutely loved it. I thought maybe it wasn't my genre, but I think I share quite similar tastes to you guys, so maybe it will work for me.
Yeah,
I started it and put it down, but don't kill me. But it's because I was buddy reading it with Emily, and Emily I love you, Emily, if you're watching in the future. I love you so much, my sister. And she reads, if she don't stick to her schedule, she just carries on going, and it's like a train. And I just felt like I was getting behind. I was so far behind, and I was recovering from COVID. Again, I was still recovering from COVID. I'm fairly certain that's right. And I was just like, I can't keep up. So no, I'm just. So it wasn't a book
we do love that Em reads a book in like 30 minutes. One time when we did a sprint with her, I think she, in like the course of 2 sprints, which we've now renamed plods, she read a whole book. And we were like, how are you doing this?
Yeah.
Love you, Em, if you're watching later.
Love you in the future.
And I don't know where I was with the comments to see what people are reading. Oh,
it is good though. I thought it was quite fun. It was quite fun what I read, Charlotte. So you might like it, because I'm not normally sci-fi either.
I'm not as sci-fi as Jem. You really like sci-fi, don't you? But I'm not. I don't read as much sci-fi as I want to read, because I always enjoy it when I do read it. But I really, really love this. I love the way she's like world building it through the characters, and seeing it. I just love the trope of seeing things through like a newbie character's eyes. That's like one of my absolute, I love it.
Is it kind of, do you think it's like Hitchhiker's Galaxy Guide to the Universe? Hitchhiker's, that one?
Guide to the Galaxy?
No, because I think that's like, to me, that's more like comedy sci-fi. Which I do like it. I have read that whole series, but I think that's much more trying to be funny, whereas this is like, this has humor like in a subtle way, like a subtle human way, just around the characters. Like the characters might make you laugh, but it's not like going out of its way to make you laugh, I don't think.
Yeah, it's like her concepts are just so unique, I think. Like, I think that's what I loved about it. So
I just really like that, like when they come to a different world or a different planet, we find out about that. We find out about the different creatures, the different species that are on the ship with her. Just so interesting. Love it. And I'm not that into sci-fi, to be honest. So, but as I say, I am when I read it, but I don't read it much.
That bodes well. That bodes well if I pick it up then.
Yes.
Because I wouldn't be a sci-fi reader either.
Yeah, definitely try it.
So Sarah says those 2 songs remind me of my teens, Charlie.
I love Gina G. You guys, if any of you guys are watching, tell me. Gina G, on my days, we used to make up dance routines every week with my friends. We did.
Yeah,
we did.
That song by Gina G was absolutely awesome. Yeah. Sonia came back in the 90s and sang in the interval last night. Oh, she came second back in the 90s.
Oh, okay. See, I did think she was a Eurovision, but I couldn't remember.
Jennifer's reading Jude now. This is what I should be doing because I haven't finished the chapters for this week. I've got 3 left.
I've got 2 chapters left, and then I'm back on schedule.
I've got 3 to get up to the schedule, so I'm not too worried about that.
How long is Jude? How long is it?
It is about 500 pages, I think. Is that about right? I've got it on my stack of books. I'm just like moving all my books around. It is 510 pages in my edition.
Yeah, I do still want to get to some Thomas Hardy this month, obviously, for your readathon, Jem. I'm going to endeavour to try some, but I need to work out which book to go to, because I don't think Jude is the right place for me to start with necessarily, is it?
I know.
No, I
think it's quite readable, though.
It is very readable. I'm enjoying it.
500 pages is quite intimidating for a first book of somebody.
It's not as horrendous so far as I thought it was going to be emotions-wise. But then I know what's coming from the adaptation, so I'm a bit like, and I finally got back into this, but it's too early in the morning to be reading that. I've finished part 4.
You've finished part 4?
Yeah.
I've still only read one chapter this month.
Whoops. I thought you were doing one chapter a day.
Yeah, that didn't work very well.
That only happened for one day. Oh dear. Ange says it says on the blurb that it will do for Belfast what Shuggy did for Glasgow, talking about the Michael McGee book. Even more intrigued now.
Fantastic.
Ange has The Long Way to Read too. Is that book? The Long Way?
No, that's the book you're reading, The Long Way to
Oh yeah.
Silly
me. Yes, you do, Ange. You need to catch up because accidentally.
Until it's still early for us.
Yeah. And Jennifer says, I need to read Becky Chambers soon.
You do.
This is my first one, and I am very excited with it.
I'm going to try the audio.
Not too sciencey. Like nothing's been super over my head or anything. What was it that was really, really sciencey, but I did love it in the end?
Project Hail Mary.
Yeah. So much science.
Oh.
I did love it because I love Rocky.
Mm.
And Ben's in. Hi, Ben. We're just about to do some reading, Ben. So let us know what you're reading if you're going to read with us. And yeah, shall we do that long-awaited plod?
We shall.
Let's see if we can get the timer. Had a lot of technical issues with this timer this morning, but I feel sure we can do it. So we will see you all in 20 minutes. Happy reading, everybody.
Happy reading. Hello.
Hello.
That Rudy.
That was Rudy. Yeah.
That's a hello from Rudy.
Hey, Rudy.
Oh dear.
Oh yeah, how did everybody get on with their reading?
All right.
Yeah. Read a bit more of Memphis.
Yeah, getting there, getting slowly through it. But I did finish a book today, so I should be able to focus a bit more on it next week.
Which one did you finish?
The Phantom Toll Booth.
Did you like the ending better than the rest?
Not really.
No.
Well, who's that by?
Norton Jester.
Sorry?
Norton Jester. Yeah, a bit too weird for me.
It wandered off a lot, didn't it? We were buddy reading it together. If anyone's like, why do you know so much about it?
Yeah.
How was your new book, Charlotte?
It was good. I think it's going to take some time for me to warm into it because it's not the easiest thing to read, and that it's not as fluid. You've got to really remember who everyone is because we're following. You kind of get like 10 family members at once, and a few different people. Like that was wanting to marry someone and then married somebody else. It's like, right, okay, so who's his wife? And then but we start with this kind of in a kind of modern day-ish timeline, where this woman has been a postcard through her letterbox with the picture of the woman that you see on the front cover, and then 4 names, and the 4 names are her grandparents. So, and then we kind of go back to the grandparents' lives as young adults. So I think I got through 5 or 6%, so I've still got a long way to go. I think it's quite a chunky novel, but I'm kind of always looking for my next The Eighth Life by Nino Haratichvili, and so I'm kind of hoping that this is it. I really kind of, but yeah.
Hard act to follow though. It's a really hard act to follow.
It really is. But I think hopefully this will do it, because I remember The Eighth Life. You have to kind of warm into it, and then once you're hooked and you know all these characters you're absolutely invested until the last. So I'm hoping
I love that book so much. I really want Jem to read it. We need to get Jem to read it. This is the time that, Charlotte, you can help me get Jem to like.
I will. It's on my shelf.
It's so good. Who is your favourite character from that? Sorry, Charlotte, everybody else, but who is your favourite character from that?
I preferred the 2 sisters that you start the novel with, rather than the younger 3 at the end. I forget their names. I just remember that one was a long name and one was a short name, but I've forgotten what it was.
Stasia. There's Stasia. Stasia's one of them.
And also her sister began with a V or something, like, I want to say Veronica, but I don't think it was Veronica.
No, it's like Vassia or something. I can't remember.
The one with the horrible husband, which I'm sure is enough for you to know. So her sister,
because Kitty was my favourite. Kitty's probably like one of my favourite characters of all time in the books, and like it literally that like her whole storyline, like, oh my god, it's just so heartbreaking and just wonderful and just
Vienna as well, don't we? Like she goes from kind of Georgia to Vienna to London and then back to that was great. I feel like she was sort of the even though it's narrated by, is it 7 of them? I feel like she's that kind of common thread throughout, isn't she? She's really lovely to follow for that length of time. Yeah.
Sorry. It's just because I love that book so much. I'm like, it's so nice to have someone to talk about it with.
Yeah.
Is it over 1,000 pages?
No.
I think the edition I read was like 950 or something.
Yeah, 960. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. That's why I've written it off.
That's another one like Wood, where it's just you just want the front cover on your shelf because it's just so beautiful with the gold and the black and the red. Really, really pretty.
Yeah.
Cool. And Charlie, how did you get on with your quite new book?
I only read a little bit of it, but I don't think in terms of like comparing it to Douglas Stewart, I don't think it's quite as descriptive as like, because for me the thing I loved about Shuggie Bain is like all the descriptions. I don't think it's quite as descriptive as that, but I can see the links in terms of like this young lad, and because the main character is Sean, he's like a young lad, like I said. So yeah, and like the writing style is kind of, and it's obviously sitting at a sort of working class narrative as well. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I really like the writing style. I definitely will read more by the author, but yeah.
I think we had a comment about it as well.
Oh, sorry.
Let's just start with this one because Jim's in again and he's told everyone to not forget to click the like button. Thank you, Jim. We missed you the other night, Jim. There was a night when you weren't here and I don't think anyone booped the like button. So
You need to tell us what year have you got on with your book, Alice?
Oh yeah. Still loving it. Absolutely amazing. No, it's got to like a really exciting part because I felt like reading it quite slowly. I don't know whether you did, Jem. I like it's really, really nice actually to find a book that I want to read slowly and I don't want to like go and consume it, although I suspect that is about to happen. But like in the like getting to know everybody, I felt like reading it quite slowly. But like stuff is definitely going down now, so I'm a bit more like, oh, it's getting very, very page turny. So yeah, good. Yeah, Kate says the book Charlie is reading close to home is on my TBR, and this is about Hardy. Started with The Mayor of Casterbridge and found it very readable. I started with that last year, so a lot smaller than Jude, and probably a lot less depressing than Jude, although it is very depressing in parts. But I enjoyed it. Could be a good place to start, Charlie.
With Jude, that I found I didn't have with Hardy's other novels, I actually found the kind of the phrasing, the dialect, quite difficult to get into with the Jude that I picked up a week or two ago for the Misery May. And I was reading it going, I'm sure I didn't have this problem with Tess and Mayor of Casterbridge and what's the other one I've read? With Bathsheba Everdeen.
Mad and Crowd, Far from Mad and Crowd.
So whether it's just I haven't read a classic in a really long time, and so just the whole dialect of that period is just very difficult for me to get into. So I've been going very, very slowly, chapter by chapter through Jude, and not really making much progress at the moment. Whereas I found, things like The Mayor of Casterbridge really, really easy to get into. Yeah,
I found that very, very readable. I read that last October, and I thought it was my first Hardy, and I was like, oh wow, if Hardy's like this, I should have read them all already. It's so readable, page turning. It's just got such a good beginning, hasn't it? Like what a start to a book for someone to do that. So recommend that, Charlie. I was going to say that actually. So thank you, Kate, for reminding me. I was also going to say that. Ange is popping off as she's being an unexpected taxi. Ferrying around. And Zach is very, very close to the end of the year of the witching. I'm glad I have headphones and my dog didn't hear the dog barking. That would have been good at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And Kate also loved Kitty. I think that's about the 8th life, isn't it?
Yep.
And Sarah, Bridge of Clay. No idea what's going on yet, but I like his writing style, so sure I'll love it. Please can you say hi to Guy, who is poorly next to me. Oh, hi, Guy. Sorry, you're poorly. Hope you feel better soon.
Eat 4 biscuits.
Yeah. Yeah, then you'll be golden.
Let you right out.
Oh, get well soon, Guy.
Yeah, feel better soon. So I was gonna say we've done current reads. So next up, I think with obviously Charlie, you've finished the whole list. Jem, you're working on Memphis, and then and you've just done Wandering Souls. Any ideas?
And I think I'm going to do Black Butterflies on audio next week.
Yeah. Good plan. Good plan. Charlotte, do you have any plans to read any more of the list this year, or have you done with it now?
I am well and truly done with it now, but I spoke to Ben, and he said to potentially go back and try The Bread the Devil Need, because that was one that I missed off of last year's list.
That was brilliant.
Yeah, and
Very
I
well
must admit that passed me by. I read a good chunk of last year's list. I think, was it Remote Sympathy that was on last year's, and absolutely loved that one. But the Devil Need one just totally passed me by. So I think I'm going to go back and try that. But I think my most successful year was actually the 2021, and I'm kind of racing for a repeat. I think I absolutely loved something like 9 out of the 16 books that year.
Oh, really?
I love that.
So I think so I think it's a case of parking this year and then just eagerly anticipating all of the ones to come next year. All again.
That year was my favorite. That year was my favorite shortlist. I know, obviously, Piranesi. Sorry. But I enjoyed Piranesi, but that was my least favorite of the list. Obviously, that's the one that won. But is that the one that won? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But that whole, is that the year that that was just the best year. Like, I love that. Yeah, great.
Interesting. I'm looking at it now, and I didn't love that many of them.
Oh,
I didn't love Transcendent Kingdom. I didn't love The Vanishing Half. I didn't love The One-Armed Sister. I liked
any of them.
I liked all of those. And
I liked them, but they weren't like, I wouldn't have them down as like favourites. Unsettled Ground I really liked.
Yeah, and I also liked No One Is Talking About This, the social media, the Twitter book.
Yeah, I haven't read that one yet.
So,
that's the one that everyone else hated, Charlotte. Everyone else hated that book. I feel like you're the only person I've spoken to that says they love it, because everyone else I spoke to just did not like that book.
I think I've put it in a video, some sort of favourites video, and yeah, because I remember at the time everyone was hating it, and that's kind of what made me want to pick it up, was because everyone was there was so much controversy. I was like, right, I need to form my own opinion on this one too.
I listened
You're
to
all
the
giving me
audio,
such.
which I thought was really good. Sorry.
You're all giving me such a lot of FOMO, because I feel like I haven't read anything from that year at all. I really started on the Women's Prize last year. Read the whole shortlist. I think from the long list, in addition, I only read Careless, but like that was the top favourite. So yeah, I've obviously missed out on like a really, really good year of 2021. I need to read some of those books.
Did you read the one that we all loved, universally? What was your thoughts on Great Circle? Because that was the one the three of us, I think, loved the most, I would say.
So I think I've spoken to Alice about this, where I think it suffered from the fact that I only had it available on audio, and and because it was so long, and you kind of have to pay attention, especially to the kind of older day kind of narrative timeline. So I can't say I loved it. I finished it. I got through to the bitter end, because I was not in my DNFing phase back then. I kind of would persevere until the bitter end and then give it kind of 1 star sort of thing. But yeah, I think I'm in the minority that I preferred the Hadley storyline, which is pretty much Kristen Stewart really in it with a different name.
I do remember us talking about that now. Yeah, I have no problem with the Hadley storyline, and I think a lot of other people were like, "Oh, there's no need for that storyline." But I just thought it, like, nothing in that book is wasted, is it? Like, everything apart from maybe the mushroom scene. If anyone's read it, the Hadley mushroom scene. That was probably the only thing we didn't need. But yeah, I just love how it all ties up.
Agree.
I thought Hadley was really important to it personally, but
I agree.
But yeah, I had a similar problem actually. I had it on audio from Libby, and it's like 26 hours, and you get it for 21 days. And I was buddy reading it with Jem, and I was like, they're not going to let me renew it. I've only got like 2 days to finish the rest of it. I've got to leave you behind and like binge listen to this audiobook. So yeah, that happened as well. But did love that book. I was going to ask you actually, Charlotte, if you had a particular favourite from all time Women's Prize or favourites.
Oh, gosh, that's difficult. Apart from the 10 that I mentioned in my Women's Prize favourites, the one that's coming to mind is Remote Sympathy from last year's list. That was kind of the shock the kind of total thought it was just going to be another kind of run-of-the-mill World War II novel, and then ended up really getting quite invested and quite emotional about it, and gave that 5-star along with The Island of Missing Trees. They were my top 2 from last year's list. But then apart from that, I would say, I think it's a mind blank, but certainly The Goldfinch, and then Fingersmith, kind of old, old, lengthy, kind of chunky books is more my thing. And Remote Sympathy was another 600-page kind of chunky one. So yeah,
it was
I
really well
need to
done.
read those, Goldfinch and Everything by Sarah Waters. I basically need to start on both of those.
Yeah,
they're both things that I've got really heavy on my radar at the moment. I want to get to. I don't think, on reflection, I would probably try and read the whole long list again. I think your method of maybe just picking and choosing sensibly is what I would probably go for next year, because this year, like, I've now got that thing, like, super competitive thing with myself where I'm like, I will finish the whole thing. I will not be an FNE. But I am a bit like long listed out now.
I definitely got fatigued by the end of it. That's why I think when I know, like, what's that Stone Blind? I got to Stone Blind. That was the last one. I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna finish it. Obviously, I DNF pod, but I started it. I was like, no. I was too fatigued by that point, and because I wasn't excited by it, I was just like, I couldn't do it.
Yeah. And I think the only thing that's kept me, the only thing that's kind of kept me not getting swept up and reading all 16 was the fact that I do have this kind of overall goal this year of getting my star rating 4 and above. And if I read 16 books at a sort of 2 or 3 star level, that would have just absolutely kiboshed my goal for the year, and it just would have made my goal almost untenable by the end of the year to be able to balance that out with, and maybe I would have loved a handful, but I mean, from the first 10%, I'd get a good enough,
I must say, so many for me have been like a 3 or a 3.5. Well, not 3 stars, but probably 3.5 stars. It's definitely brought my ratings probably down for the year. I think a couple of 4 stars in there, or comfortable 4 stars, like Marriage Portrait. I think I probably thought was maybe 4.5. A couple of 4 stars, and obviously Demon at 5, but everything else has been really sort of 3, 3.5 and lower.
Oh gosh, it's because it's such a long list. It's not your sort of 13, it's 16, so it would really have a massive impact on my numbers for the year. But I'm not sure how Marriage Portrait, I mean, do you guys think it has much of a shot at the actual title, given that Maggie won only, was it 2 or 3 years ago now? Because I guess it could, in a way. I don't feel like people are talking about it in terms of winning because of the whole Hamnet thing. But I mean, it's certainly, I guess, a dark horse. I mean, I haven't heard anybody not like it. So
I feel like it's the one that's sort of been disregarded a bit, which is strange because obviously she did win a couple of years ago, and like, it's both strange to me and I understand it, because I'm kind of like, that was a really, really good book that I really, really enjoyed. But do I think it will win the prize? I probably don't. But then if it did win the prize, I think we'd all be like, oh yeah, that was a really good book.
I definitely think it would be the one that most readers would enjoy. I definitely think, like you said, it's like a universal favourite, like you guys said. Yeah.
I think maybe it's just not unique enough to win. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you look at the other, but even Pod, you look at them and they're all doing something different. And I mean, I haven't read it yet, but I expect I will really like it. But it's sort of a standard historical fiction, maybe.
Okay.
I agree.
I think it is one that is like, it is doing the women's prize thing though, of it is like really a focus on one woman and her like struggles and her story. And I think that is a thing that the women's prize obviously do look for and reward. And we have got some books on this shortlist that aren't necessarily following a woman, i.e. Pod and Demon. But that's not to say I don't think Demon will win because it's not about a woman, because I think there's a lot of great female characters in that book. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Marriage Portrait. I feel like a lot of people have said, I don't think it will win, but then it would certainly be a dark horse if it took the prize, because maybe they would.
I just don't think it would be surprised. Like, I don't think it would be surprising if it won. I don't think it's.
No.
I don't know. I just I wouldn't. I love her writing and she's so skillful. But yeah.
I do become increasingly worried that Pod might get it.
Yes, because say it's not Demon and say it's not Marriage, which of the remaining 4 could they go for then? If they say, well, we're not going to award it to Demon because Barbara's got the Pulitzer, and we're not going to give it to Marriage because she's already won within the last 3 years. So what would you go for out of the remaining 4 then, if you had to?
Black Butterflies, I think. Not that I've read it, but I think it's going to be the one that I like the most out of the others.
Yeah. Award to kind of a relatively obscure author, one who hasn't had the spotlight already kind of shone on her. So that would be
I would be incredibly surprised if it went to Trespasses. Like, no offense, Charlie, but I just think it's not, like, of all the books, it's not doing maybe as much. It's a very, very quiet book, and I don't think that books like that often win a prize, but I could be wrong. I'm not a prize judge. But I think something like Fire Rush is doing something that's really different. I've not read another book like Fire Rush. I do have this feeling in the back of my mind, like, if what they are looking for is like something a bit different and something where she has definitely played with language and written it in a different style to everybody else, and if they want to recognise a debut author, I do wonder if it could be that one. But I haven't read Black Butterflies, so I'm reserving judgment on Black Butterflies.
Especially as last year, it felt like such a wild card to choose Ruth Ozeki's book Form an Empty. I don't think anyone was really expecting that to clinch it. You know, it was always a leaf Shafak. And then this year it's been, you know, Barbara Kingsolver. So maybe they'll do another kind of version of that. It'll be the wild card, maybe Fire Rush, I'm thinking as well.
Fire Rush or Pod are definitely very strong in terms of, like, I think their uniqueness. I do think they could. Also.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because obviously Ozeki was one of the authors on there that was already like a big author who hadn't necessarily won a big prize. And obviously there was Louise Erdrich on there as well, who had won a lot of prizes, but not for that book, and hasn't won the Women's Prize to my knowledge. And I felt like maybe those two and the Shipstead were like the big hitters. But I would say everything on the list last year was doing something really different to everything else on the list. A lot of the thing they were doing that was different was like playing with these different narrators. I feel like that was a big theme last year. I've remembered that I did actually read Salt Lick as well, which does another different thing with narrators.
Oh my days, the cows.
A chorus of cows. I had to read that to see what the chorus of cows was. Oh dear. But I read it a long time afterwards because my library didn't actually get it in until the prize was over.
I wish that the judges were a bit more or at least tell us to give it maybe afterwards even so they do kind of say in the speech, don't they, what the things were that they were personally looking for, because every single year it's completely new judges. So what things, because each set look for something completely, obviously they've got a main theme, but you can tell that they're kind of after something. What is it?
Variety, which I know Kit over at Kit the Reader mentioned how, you know, they've gone for this whole variety thing this year, a book for everybody, as opposed to maybe what the the prize overall is going for, which is, the best fiction written by women. And it's okay, well, you can either go the best fiction written by women, or you can go the most variety in terms of, what everybody, a little bit for everybody. And so in that sense, no one's going to like the entire list. And so it's a bit kind of, the target doesn't seem to be, it seems a bit off this year in that sense, that they've been looking for one thing. And I think that was very reflective of our predictions lists on BookTube, which is so wildly different to what they came up with in the end. Because, we've bad. Of what's the best women's fiction this year, and they're following the parameters of, let's just get as much variety as we can into this list. So I think that was a bit of a controversial type of
definitely not something we were all expecting, was it? From what all of our lists
makes it more fun. I think that makes it more fun. I know it was a bit of a wacky long list in terms of that, but I think it makes it I think it adds a bit more intrigue to it. I don't know.
But as you say, when you go for something for everybody, there will also be something that each person really, really doesn't like on the list, likely.
And I do really like following the list to find new books. And so I don't necessarily want all of our predictions to be correct, because I like the fact that it shows us, and the booker, they show us like a whole new fresh batch of books. So yeah, just I thought it was slightly more reflective of what we saw on BookTube.
Yeah. So let's have a few comments. Laurie has said, good morning, woke up to see the plod was on. Currently have 3 books going: Marriage Portrait, I'm a Fan, and The Lewis Man, which is a mystery by Peter Mays. Morning, Laurie. And Sarah, loved the Bread the Devil Need and Remote Sympathy, also Paper Palace. I don't think any of those 3 made the cut of the shortlist. I'm still halfway through Paper Palace. I never did go back to it.
The Paper Palace was good. The Bread the Devil Need, I think, did make the shortlist.
It did. But yeah, I'd loved The Bread the Devil Need, but it was certainly a very different book on that list. What about a Google prequel, Vision Impossible? Yeah, I would have preferred a book entirely about the dolphin called Google, but that is not the book that I got. Jennifer really liked No One Is Talking About This, and also thinks I would really enjoy Fingersmith.
I think you would enjoy Fingersmith.
100%.
And Kate agrees that Great Circle is a masterpiece.
Yes, it was.
Imogen completely empathizes with the long list fatigue, but still super competitive with myself to finish them all now. That's exactly where I am.
Imogen's doing amazing. Imogen has been filling it all in on our little on Instagram. We've got on our Plodalong Instagram. She's been posting regularly. She's doing amazing with it. So well done, Imogen.
Yeah, well done. And Sarah was just looking back at previous shortlists and winners, and Hilary Mantel was beaten 3 times. So I guess that guarantees nothing for Barbara Kingsolver. True.
Was beaten.
Yeah, Hilary Mantel's never won the Women's Prize.
It's crazy.
Only the booker.
Oh, I see. So in a sense, they're saying, Barbara Kingsolver, she could, because she's been longlisted before, so she could just be, not get it again this year. Yeah.
Ben thinks The Bread the Devil Need would have been such a great winner last year.
I agree. I would really like to see that.
That's Alice's mum. Is that Alice's mum? Your mum?
It's my mum. Hi, Mum. And Mum thinks that Fire Rush has the whiff of a prize winner about it. My mum has just read Fire Rush, and she did actually make it through it, which is rare because I really thought she was going to DNF that one. But well done,
Did she
Mum.
struggle with it then, or did you completely love all of it,
or is it at the beginning, but then enjoyed it? But it's not her type of book, I don't think. I think is what we've discussed. And Ben is with Charlie. Definitely more fun, and I love to be surprised by this list, even when we don't like some of them.
Yeah.
We've we've loved all the pod discussion, because even though like most of us haven't liked pod, when people have come along and have loved it, we've still loved discussing it, haven't we? Like
it's certainly given us a lot to talk about.
But then if you look at like BookTube's prediction videos, I think if you took like a cross section of those, there were some surprises on those from booktubers of books that I'd never heard of, and I just think we would have had a better long list.
People sometimes think that maybe next year we do like the BookTube Women's Prize.
BookTube Women's Prize.
Yeah. Maybe we could gather together people to give one nomination each and like make a collaborative video.
We should.
That's a really good idea, Alice. We could do that for our plod along. We could do a poll,
Launch our plod with it.
Yeah. I was about to ask, after doing it this year, are you guys wanting to do a Plod Along 2024 edition?
Depends if Pod wins, I might be out. But
oh no, you won't be, Alice. Me and Jem will pull you in.
He says that now, but as soon as it gets to like Women's Prize,
these two will pull me back in.
Yeah, I think we will do it again next year, though we may not do quite as many plods.
Yeah,
we've got Shelley in as well. Hi, Shelley. It must be super early for Shelley.
Right?
So early, Shelley.
Shelley, how are you doing? Are you all right? Are the
Shelley's
kids awake?
also got the young child alarm clock, I think.
True. Shall we do another plod, ladies? Are you all up for a bit more reading? Yeah. Excellent. So should we do another 20 minutes? And then we can wrap up after. So timer is coming. That's 0 seconds, so we won't have that one. But yeah, 20 minutes, and happy reading, everybody.
Happy reading.
different. Why has it done that? That's not what I wanted. Oh, that's better. Yeah. Hi everyone. We're back again. Yeah. Sorry, I was in like a really, really good bit of this book. That's the only problem with plods. If you get to the end and you're at like a really exciting bit.
This is it.
Yeah. How did everybody get on, apart from me, who wants to carry on reading?
Yeah, really good. I could carry on reading as well.
Always good. We've had a few more comments. Zach said that I've got him to buy Our Wives Under the Sea, saving it for a readathon next month.
Nice. Which readathon? It's so good.
Oh no, don't start this. Which readathon? Oh,
Gem's always going to add more to her list.
I haven't actually heard of readathons for next month. Are there some?
No,
Yes, tell us.
I haven't seen any.
No, I haven't.
Do you know what? That's nice though. I just think, yeah, that's nice.
I'm looking forward to a more casual month at the moment. I'm sure something will come along. Shelley's doing well and often up this early. Good.
No, bless you, Shelley.
Is joining late, but we'll definitely catch up with what I missed. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, Elizabeth.
And Kate says, I would be up for a BookTube Women's Prize. My list would have featured Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Night Crawling. I think a lot of us predicted Night Crawling, and me and Charlie, I think we both predicted Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow.
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was very surprised not to see those two, I would say.
Night Crawling especially, I think.
Yeah, if anyone else wants to comment, what did you expect to see that you didn't see? Like maybe one or two books you were really surprised about. Let us know. And Zach's just finished The Year of the Witching. For now, I'm giving it 4 stars, but could sway 0.25 in either direction. Now I have to pick something else. Cool.
Yeah, because I always think you have to wait for books to, because sometimes books, like you said, fade, and sometimes books increase, and you just love them even more the more that you think about them. So yeah, I definitely think you have to give it a bit of space before you. Well, I do before I give it a proper rating.
This is true. Well, you don't know how much you love a book until you realise whether it's stayed with you, do you? So I do think that. And Jennifer says June is Pride Month, so I'm going to focus my reading around that.
Okay. That is a good point.
Yeah,
it's always a good excuse because there's so many good queer books that are like again on our shelves that we could just like dive into. So yeah, that would be.
I read so much queer lit. I didn't realise till like my Storygraph thing told me it's what my second most read.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I don't do it like intentionally. I'm obviously just drawn to those books.
Yeah, I'm always surprised when I look at Storygraph, and I think it's either in my top 4 or top 5, and then I don't necessarily think that and then I kind of click and I'm like, oh yeah, that had a storyline, and that had a storyline, because it's sort of always interwoven. It's not necessarily a story about, but that's sort of I agree.
Yeah. I think mine was a lot higher than I expected it to be when I was at doing like the quarter year check-in, which I did quite late. But I think it was 4 or 5 on my list as well, maybe 5.
Mine is top. I think top.
Yeah.
What, LGB?
Yeah.
It's top.
Oh wow.
But it's because like I read quite a lot of non-fiction, but then obviously a lot of my fiction obviously includes it too. So I don't know. It's just
Sarah says Night Crawling definitely. I thought maybe Joan would be there too. I'm not brilliant at keeping up with new releases and knowing what's eligible.
Yeah, I was disappointed to see Joan not on there, but
it's on our Kindles to get to though, and that's what did Charlotte, because I know you're the one that told us about it, or you're the one that told me about it, and then but it was who was it? One of the two people that we watched. Someone we watch. Coiny Reeds. Joan. Coiny Reeds. Jem told us about it.
Geraldine Brooks. I thought that would be on there as well, but
yeah,
I was
Is
surprised.
that eligible for the Booker horse?
I think it will be. But
I have a horrible feeling though that Horse was published June 2022, which means it would have been last year.
Oh, in that case, it's not eligible. Yeah, it's not eligible then.
yeah.
That unless there's a different UK publishing date, but I'm pretty sure for the eligibility for the women's for my predictions video, and I want to say it's June 2022.
Yeah, I'll have a look. I'm just looking now. It's only got
you're right. 2nd June. Oh wait, that's
it's not eligible.
Yeah, so otherwise I would say yes, it has a chance. You know, it wants to see it on the Booker, but it missed both. It missed last year's Booker and the Women's Prize.
That's quite surprising.
I've never read any of her books, so to be fair, so I can't comment.
No,
it's just been nominated, I think, for both, though, hasn't she?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's how she came onto my radar. I think she wrote the book The Year of Wonders, which is kind of a pandemic-y, quarantine-y novel, which I think got a little bit like when people were doing lists around, you know, pandemic books and things like that, and it was on a lot of lists there, and it popped up for me on one of those lists.
What was that one called? I need to get that one.
It's called Year of Wonders, but it's historical fiction. So it's I think it's about a real life event where a town was quarantined, and kind of people would be throwing food over the walls of the town. And I think, but I didn't get very far through it before DNFing on that one.
Wow. Zach's readathon is a competitive readathon. Once upon a readathon, I'm on team Gin with Kristen Crave's books. Sounds interesting.
The more you read, the more you
know. Rachel Matthews was convinced Women Eating by Claire Coder would be on the long list. I bought it in advance, full price hardback, then it wasn't on the list, and it was 99p on Kindle shortly after.
Yeah, I did pick up the 99p on Kindle.
Yeah, we bought we bought it when it was on deals.
I predicted it, and then I found out I think that it wasn't actually eligible. I think it would have been eligible last year, but I've just read it this week. I saw the paperback was brand new in the librry, and
what did you think of it? Tell us. I want to know.
I didn't love it as much as I thought I would, but it was one of those books where when you're getting towards the ending, because it is a very short book, I was like, if this particular thing doesn't happen, then this is a terrible book. But if this particular thing does happen, I love this book, and the thing did happen, so I was left with a positive feeling about it.
Because Shelley, I'm sure Shelley, if you're still here watching, Shelley hated this book. I'm sure Shelley was really salty about Women Eating recently.
Shelley didn't like, I think, the way the art was done. It's one of Shelley's like bugbears is whether art is well handled in a book. I think she did a video about it, and I believe she said that the art in this was not well handled. But yeah, art was a big thing in this book. And it was probably too big a thing in the book for me, but possibly agree that it wasn't that great a portrayal of the art world. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't read that many art books.
With their kind of different expectations, it's going to be a. I was going to say, I thought going into Women Eating, I thought, okay, this is going to be just about a woman kind of eating her way through her local area, sort of thing. It's this sort of like wild control young woman, and actually it didn't really. I enjoyed it. I think I gave it something like 3.5 overall. I thought it was really nicely written, and but it was more of a coming of age young adult. It was about a woman and dealing with her relationship struggles and living on her own for the first time, and losing a parent and all of that sort of thing, rather than the vampire aspect. That's almost not a gimmick. It's almost just like an added, almost unnecessary layer. I thought the kind of crescendo towards the end was great, but I think at its heart, it's more about this very sort of young girl. Whether she's a vampire or not.
I'm glad you say that, because I feel like this was one of those books that is like a very insular book focused on one woman, and it's like one of those one woman narratives of like what her life is like and how she's struggling to cope with it and that sort of thing. And I was like, oh, I wasn't really expecting it to be that. I was expecting it to be vampire, but it is definitely an interesting take on someone being a vampire. And also it was very much how she was dealing with her humanity as well as dealing with being a vampire. A lot more human than I expected.
Another one that in relation to that book that always makes me think of that book, that I thought could have been listed, was the Briefly a Delicious Life by Nell Stevens. That was one I'm still excited to try and get to that. So has anyone
Is that
read
eligible for the Booker?
I'm not sure. I don't know. We should check. But that's the one, because I think that's one that Jen Campbell loved, didn't she? I'm sure she listened to
read that one. Isn't that one about a ghost?
It's a ghost, so it's sort of similar kind of. That's what kind of it gave me sort of similar.
I keep those two in like a similar bracket actually as well.
Yeah.
I think it's because they've both got like eating and delicious in the title.
Yeah, probably.
It was July 22, so
yeah, so it's not eligible.
What are the dates of the Booker?
I think it's the end of September. I think beginning. So I think.
Oh yeah, of course.
So Sarah says her average rating is 4.19. Just checked. Maybe I'm too generous. I don't know what mine is actually.
Wow. I did just check mine. Mine's 3.75.
How do you check it?
3.9.
Yeah.
If you just go to your stats and then go down to the bottom where your ratings are, it says at the top what your average is.
Sarah, mine's even higher than that because mine's even higher than that. Normally mine is lower, but this month I've had just a really good reading month. So mine's 4.27. That is like mental.
Nice.
Like that is crazy. It's not normally that high, to be fair. I think when I messaged the girls last, I think it was 4.1. Was it? No, I think 4.1. 4.14. I think that's right.
Mine's 3.88.
So that means I'm even harsher than you, Alice.
Yeah.
Even though I give more 5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
I give lots more 2 stars as well.
But I don't know. I don't seem to have rated all my books though, which is a bit irritating because it says I've done 65 reviews.
Did you go back into your BookTube Prize ones?
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm missing 5, so that must be my BookTube Prize ones. I must have gone back and done one.
I do need to go back and lower some of my ratings because I think I always start higher and then I pull them down. So
that was 6 books, so I must have gone back and rated one of them and not the rest. Weird. So Kelly's here. Hi Kelly. Just woke up. Happy Mother's Day to all those who are celebrating it. I'm afraid to go outside as my son is destroying the kitchen trying to prepare for me.
Oh dear. Happy Mother's Day. You can clean the whole kitchen.
And Jennifer gave Women Eating only 2 stars. Okay.
Oh, I'm more excited for it now.
I don't know if you'll like it, Gem, actually.
Oh, really?
No, I don't think it's a Gemma book.
Interesting.
I have read Jane Eyre. I'm supposed to read it this month. I'm scared of it. It is good.
It's really easy to read. It's an easy
classic. Brilliant book.
It's a very, very accessible classic.
Yeah.
I think you'll like it.
There's nothing to be scared of. There's definitely nothing to be scared of. Don't worry. I think it's quite. It's probably one of the most accessible classics, I would say.
The only bit that I found hard to get into was there is like a section at the beginning where she's a child, and I wasn't that into that.
I really liked that bit.
Once I got past that,
with her best friend Helen.
Oh no! Before that, like the bit where she's like a younger child, like right at the beginning when she's with the horrible family.
Yeah,
that was the bit I wasn't that keen on, but that's very, very short. So go past that bit is what I'm saying before you make a judgment. I'm waiting for a Coda Evaristo mashup, girl, woman eating.
This is why we love this chat. This is the kind of shit that I just love from our chats that we get every week.
3.7. Oh my word.
Yeah, how is that even possible? Jennifer's DNF's like every book.
Yeah.
Like every other book is DNF'd, and yet it's still only 3.17.
Yeah, it should be higher if you're DNFing so much, Jennifer.
Jennifer's our favourite. We love Jennifer. She's like the best.
Love Jennifer.
Yeah. I definitely think someone's beaten Jennifer on the DNFs though, because I did see that Jen the librarian had DNF'd more of the Women's Prize the other day. She's still like, I think, our top DNFer.
Yeah.
And Jen's going to be on next Sunday. Jen's going to be appearing next Sunday, isn't she?
I think so, yeah.
Jen definitely is coming on, but I can't remember when off the top of my head.
You've left, haven't you, before the winner announcement? So you've got 4 more weeks of plods.
We have, and I think all of the 4 weeks we've got two a week. Tuesdays and weekends. So yes. But
live.
I remembered in that plot that I didn't ask Jem about the leaderboard and how Charlotte did.
I did do it. It was 14, so you are indeed joint 5th with Lauren.
Yay! Well done, Charlotte. Very good showing.
Yeah, that is pretty good. That is pretty good.
Very, very good. Jennifer does say she's a harsh rater.
But then when you've got a favourite, so when Jennifer has a favourite, I always still feel like that's more of a sure bet then. Like surely. Like mostly,
apart from for Gemma, where it's like the opposite.
The defo DNF.
And Ben hasn't DNF'd a book in about 10 years.
Ben!
How do you do it then?
Oh, your life out.
I've only just learnt to DNF. I only started DNFing last year once I was on BookTube.
Yeah,
well, I was willing you to DNF Trespasses because I was willing you to do DNF Trespasses, and I love Trespasses, but I just felt so sorry for you because I know you weren't enjoying it. I was just like, DNF it.
No, I'm determined not to DNF anything from this list, so I can be the one person who's read everything. I'm so competitive.
You are very competitive.
Very, very competitive, but it's to my detriment because I probably haven't enjoyed half of them.
Yeah.
But I thought this year was getting off to a really good DNFing start because I think I DNF'd like the first book that I picked up.
I think you did.
But then I haven't DNF'd since, so it's not going well actually at all with DNFing.
You've only DNF'd 1 book this year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
So I need to start DNFing some more books.
Yeah, you need to get back into the groove.
I think Jennifer's quite upset with Ben, I think.
That is shocking behaviour.
So you'll be wondering what Jennifer's kind of most recent 5-star. That's my question.
Oh yeah, what?
Yeah, tell us.
It was probably about 10 years ago.
Tell us your most recent 5-star, and then also tell us your latest DNF, please. These 2 things I want to know.
Yeah. It's just the length of Jane Eyre. I also have Agnes Grey by Anne Bronte, but that is nice and short. But Jane is definitely an easier read than Agnes, I would say.
Yeah, I didn't get on with it.
Despite being shorter, Agnes is not as interesting, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Ben says, I start and then I finish. No apologies from me.
Good for you.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
My last DNF was The Truth About the Harry Quebert Affair. Absolutely dreadful. Ooh. Oh dear.
You reckon that one?
No. So yeah, next time we have got, let's see if I can change the banner on the bottom. Our next plod is going to be on Tuesday, and we're going to be over on Jem's channel talking to Heather from Reading with a Vengeance.
We are.
It's going to be exciting. Looking forward to that. That's Tuesday night, isn't it?
It is.
And oh, here we go. Jennifer's got the gossip for us. Most recent 5-star was a reread of Fingersmith last year.
Oh, that doesn't count as a reread.
That doesn't count.
What about a non-reread? Non-reread. We're going to have to stay on here until we've heard from you, Jennifer.
Yeah, this is it.
Go back into her archives. It'll take her a long time to keep going.
I know, because that was last year.
Yeah.
No 5 stars this year.
But she loved I'm a Fan. I think Jennifer loved I'm a Fan. That was her favourite, I think, from the year so far.
Mm. Oh, last DNF was a Scandal Crime.
The 3 of you did. Yeah. The 3 of you liked I'm a Fan, didn't you? Or is
liked and didn't like at the same time, I think, which is for a book. But
I'm the
I
same
gave
as
4 stars, I think.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Are you going to read it, Gem, or are you giving it a wide berth?
Yeah, no, I will read it. It's on my Kindle. It's only like 100 pages or something, isn't it? It's like really short. So
very short.
I will give it a go, but if I don't like it, I'll DNF it. So,
Fair enough.
there is a risk of that with that book, I would say.
Yeah. So yeah. I'm sorry.
I'm getting comfy. I'm an old lady. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think Jennifer's going to tell us a different 5-star
I don't
read.
think one exists. Oh, here we go.
Here we go. This is this year, Jennifer, surely, or maybe.
No, it wasn't, because she got a proof of it from
she had a proof.
She did, yeah.
Oh, phew! I'm glad to hear that, Jennifer, because that was definitely a 5-star for me as well. And I can't wait for you two to read it.
Jem, she's saying that she can't wait for us both to read the Heartwood Hall.
I can't wait to get to it either. I'm really excited.
So but it's hard because when you're anticipating a book and everyone else is reading it a lot, and like everyone is reading it and talking about it, even though I do really desperately want to read it, but I feel like I need a bit of space from everybody buzzing about it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I also feel like it's like an autumny book. Like
it will be a really good book to read in the autumn. Yeah.
I do. I'll pick it up later on in the year. Sure.
So Zach says Anne Bronte is my favourite. Agnes Grey is a reread, and The Tenant of Wildfire Hall is one of my all-time favourite books. Agree on most of that. Not Agnes Grey, but Tenant of Wildfire Hall is absolutely a top favourite for me. Very good book. Jennifer did read Annette Galley, and Ben says I'm a super fan. Of I'm a fan. So yeah, I think we better wrap up there. Let you ladies go and enjoy your Sundays, and Charlotte, get on with your evening. Thank you very, very much for joining us.
It's been so lovely chatting with you, Charlotte.
Yeah, it's been absolutely lovely. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's been lovely.
Great to talk to you. And we thank you very much for coming. And thanks everybody else in the comments for being here on an early Sunday morning and sticking with us. And we will see you all on Tuesday, hopefully.
Yes.
So bye for now, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.